So this is my review of the Robert Easter Jr. versus Richard Commey fight for the vacant IBF World Lightweight Championship. And what a fight it was. It was just consistent back and forth action, especially from the mid rounds on. A fight that really got heated as it progressed. Commey, I thought, was controlling the early rounds, was just his raw aggression, his overall power. The fact that Robert Easter appeared to be a little bit overconfident in his boxing skills, his ability to use that Philly shell defense wasn't working out too well for him. And just possibly the overconfidence of feeling like he could just blast Commey out of there. Like, Commey just wasn't on his level. But early on, it was definitely looking like Commey might be on even beyond his level. Easter managed to eventually get back into the fight, however, as Commey kind of lingered a little bit too much at mid-range, and Easter was starting to catch him on the end of some of those shots. There were times, though, where even though Easter had Commey pinned up against the ropes, Commey was actually fighting Easter off of the ropes better than Easter was landing his own punches. Like, even though Commey was in what you may consider the compromising position up against the ropes, potentially taking heavy shots, he was actually the one that was really landing heavier and cleaner on Easter, as he kind of like gave his height away a little bit too much trying to land those heavy shots, and basically was walking into exactly what Commey wanted him to do. In spite of that, though, Easter managed to kind of get a little bit of a better gauge on distance going into like the mid to late rounds. In spite of a 8th round knockdown that was called, that wasn't really a knockdown. It was basically, it looked kind of like possibly his glove may have touched the canvas. Benji Estevez, the referee, made kind of a flash judgment call. Sometimes you see things, sometimes you don't necessarily. He was thinking that his glove did touch. Turns out that he didn't. A good reasoning for why they should have instant replay, even if it's just somebody filming the fight on a little camcorder or something, or an iPhone, whatever. The cameras are ubiquitous nowadays. There's no reason why you couldn't have somebody just doing some simple filming ringside, even if it's not on TV, which this fight, of course, was. They have all the big screens and everything in the arena. Very easy to do for a world championship fight, especially. But in light of that, Easter was doing well, like up until about round 9, where it seemed like Commey was starting to take over again. Just his overall, just sheer aggression, his strength, power. I mean, he was just really going at Robert Easter. But in spite of that, I think there was a lot of swing rounds in this fight. There could have been like 3-4 different rounds that you could have given to either guy and really not complained about it. But what finally put the cap on it, what wound up incidentally winning Easter the fight and the championship, was the 12th and final round, where he managed to just rock Richard Commey with a huge overhand right, as Commey was kind of crouching at mid-range. And the thing is, like, if you're going to crouch like that, you need to either be doing it way outside, trying to make your opponent give away his reach, like make him lean in, miss, and then you counter, or be crouching on the inside, like in the Smoking Joe Frazier style, where it's like you can kind of bob and weave and lunge into your own shots and really get a lot of leverage on it, especially against a taller opponent, or like if Joe Frazier did, like a Mike Tyson did, as a shorter opponent fighting primarily taller guys. But he just got caught at the mid-range doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Robert Easter capitalized on it, and he hurt Commey bad. Like, it's a wonder that Commey even stood up in that round, but it could have very easily been, and probably was scored. I haven't seen the scorecards, the official scorecards yet myself, but it probably was scored a 10-8 round on at least one of those judges' scorecards, because that very easily could have been a 10-8 round, that last round, regardless of whether there was a knockdown scored or not, because he was just getting beaten pillar to post in that last round. Really, really brutal stuff. But of course, Robert Easter wound up coming up with the split decision victory. Of course, that's not necessarily a huge surprise. Just the fact that he's closer to his hometown, Toledo, Ohio. They were fighting in Reading, Pennsylvania. So the crowd was definitely on the side. So, anytime Robert Easter would be landing a shot, there was a lot of oohs and ahs. When Commey would land a shot, there definitely wasn't as much fanfare with regard to that. So, that plays a heavy role. And it was just a good fight, man. It really could have gone either way. Personally, I actually had Commey winning the fight. I had him winning it close, but I can't necessarily argue with the scorecards. 115, 112 for Easter, 113, 114 to Commey, and 114, 113 to Easter. You really don't get much closer than that. This was one of those fights. This is one of those fights like a Thurman Porter type of fight. It could have gone either way. I would say Santa Cruz, Frampton as well, but as some of you who've heard my videos in the past, I thought Santa Cruz won that a bit more clearly. But I mean, this was definitely up there in terms of Fight of the Year candidacy in a major way. In a major way, I'm not sure if it's gonna win because there were a couple of times where there was a little bit of a lull in terms of like the exactly how the back and forth shifts and tide were going. But I mean, the way it ended was about as great as you could picture a fight ending, man. Just a guy just giving it his all to try and take his opponent's head off and try to win that belt. And it basically wound up doing the job for him. Good for Robert Easter in that case. As for the next fight, Easter in his post-fight interview, might as well mention the fact that Easter now advances to 18-0 with 14 knockouts. Richard Commey is now 24-1 with 22 knockouts. Two very excellent records regardless. But as for who they're going to be fighting next, Robert Easter did say, or excuse me, his trainer did say that Richard Commey deserves a rematch. But of course, it's always up to Al Heyman and the whole team that's involved. I doubt that Commey gets a rematch because to me it seems like it's a little bit too much of a high risk, low reward type fight, especially for a guy that just ran through a gauntlet in Commey to win this title. If anything, Commey, if history's taught me anything, is likely going to wind up having to fight another like top level fighter in order to re-earn a shot at either the IBF title or any of the other titles. I mean, like maybe a Richard Commey versus Denis Shafikov, or Richard Commey versus Jose Felix Jr. Either would be excellent fights, and should he beat either of those guys, he would definitely deserve another shot at Robert Easter. If not, going after possibly one of the other belts. I mean, there's always Dejan Zlaticanin out there for the WBC, although he appears to be trying to aim at the winner between Jorge Linares and Anthony Crolla. Big fight coming up. But Commey, like Zlaticanin, doesn't necessarily have a big U.S. fan base, really. They're both guys from really far off lands, guys that have come in and just shown themselves to be just nasty opponents, man. Guys that punch hard and fight hard, and just the type of guys that a lot of these blue chip prospects and like high level big name type guys do not want to be fighting. Just somebody that doesn't care what your stature is, doesn't care what your reputation is. He's going in there, he's trying to knock your head off because to them, you're just another man. You're just another guy standing in the front in their way. They could care less about what kind of rep you got. And just like that old Gangstar song, just to get a rep. They're looking to make their rep off yours. But I would like to see Commey in any one of those fights. Easter is most likely going to be fighting somebody that we've probably seen before. Who knows? I mean, I could very easily imagine him fighting Mickey Bay again. Just because of the fact that Mickey Bay, he's gotten a couple opportunities in the past. He's 1-1 essentially, versus Miguel Vasquez and Francis Barthélemy. So I could definitely picture him versus Robert Easter. That kind of plays into the Floyd Mayweather versus Adrian Broner rivalry, of course. That's a very easy fight to promote. I could very well see something like that come off. If not, potentially some of these other champions or top contenders. But those are the fights that I pretty much see as most likely to happen next for both guys. Let me know what you think, if you have any particular ideas on it, or just your thoughts on the fight. I thought it was a great fight, definitely Fight of the Year contender. I probably wouldn't name it Fight of the Year if I were to sit down and really think about it. But the year's not over yet, and we still have a few months to go, and plenty more fights where there's a lot of crazy things can happen. You never know when something wild may come across the radar. I mean, shoot, like even earlier with the Edward Troyanovsky Keito Obata fight, man, that fight was turning into a nice little war. I mean, in spite of the fact that Obata got knocked out of the ring, but had he probably not gotten knocked completely out of the ring all the way to the concrete, it may have been just another Fight of the Year candidate type of fight. But this one definitely ranks up there, regardless of what else is out there. But that's pretty much my thoughts on Robert Easter Jr. versus Richard Commey. Props to Robert Easter for pulling off the win, snatching himself a world championship. Making it another world champion for Bandcamp, regardless of if Broner has won himself or not. And then Richard Commey, props to him too, man, coming in as a pretty heavy underdog and showing that he definitely deserved to be a top-rated fighter. You know, he definitely deserved a shot at that title, and he damn near got it. I mean, I had him winning the fight, so I can't argue with anybody who says that he deserved to win. Because I mean, even as far as my card goes, he did. Really, really good fighter. Just tough, strong, powerful. Just, you know, he's gonna be an issue for any one of these guys at 135. Top level, elite, champion, whatever, what have you. So that's my thoughts on the fight, guys. Let me know what you think. Peace.